Now, I did now open this React course folder, which we created in the last step, with my editor, Visual Studio Code. Now, you can use any code editor you want. If you have a favorite editor already, you can stick to this. But you should use some code editor to have a better time working with React. And here I'm using Visual Studio Code, which is a great free IDE for web development. It's available for all major platforms, macOS, Windows, Linux. You can simply download it from code.visualstudio.com. And then once you download it and installed it, simply open your folder that we created in the last step, this React course folder in my case, with Visual Studio Code. Simply with File Open or Open Folder on Windows. Now once you did that, you should see something like this. Now you can tweak the settings of Visual Studio Code if you want to. If you have a different theme and you want my theme, you can go to Preferences, Color Theme. I'm using the Dark Plus theme. And it is worth noting that with Visual Studio Code, under View, you can tweak the appearance of the editor. For example, if you have a status bar at the bottom and things like that, which I disabled here. And you can go to View Extensions to install extra third-party extensions into Visual Studio Code, which can add new functionality. Now, I got a bunch of extensions installed, which you don't need, but there's one extension which I do recommend, and that's the Prettier extension. You can simply search for Prettier here, and then install that extra extension. This is an extension that helps with code formatting, and which therefore helps with making your code more readable with a simple keystroke. For this, you then also want to make sure that under Preferences, Keyboard Shortcuts, if you search for Format Document, you have this shortcut bound. Because that Format Document shortcut can then use Prettier to format your code and make it more readable. For this to ensure that you use Prettier, you might want to go to your settings, to your user or project specific settings, and then there simply search for Format, and under Default Formatter, you want to select Prettier VS Code, which should be available since we installed Prettier. Now that's the setup I'm using here in the end, and with that I got an editor configured for my requirements, which we can now use to dive into that React project that was created for us and which we can now use to write some React code. So let's now, as a first step, clean up this project to get rid of some of the starting files and then start from scratch again to learn React in depth.